So on worksheet 6, we are talking about hyperbole. Hyperbole is the extreme exaggeration of the truth used to make a point. These are very American type of figures of speech. Typically in places like England, you would see something that is known as an understatement. So whereas if you were out in the rain and you were just soaked, you came in, you were sopping wet, we would probably say something like, "Oh my goodness, you brought in an entire flood with you." That would be an extreme exaggeration. Now, in contrast, if you were over in England and you walked in and you were soaking wet, they might say something like, "Oh goodness, you're a wee bit wet, aren't you?" So that would be an understatement. So in America, we always tend to overstate things. So extreme exaggeration. Here are a couple of biblical examples. The rock poured me out rivers of oil. It's found in Job 19:6. It's another way of saying he had many good things. So like idioms that we've covered before, such as it's raining cats and dogs, we would understand the underlying meaning of that to just say, "Oh, it's raining hard." In this case, this is sort of a biblical idiom, meaning he had many good things, but the rock poured me out rivers of oil. It doesn't really happen. Although some might make a case that it has to do with the water underground, but still you don't always see just all of these rocks breaking open and rivers of oil pouring out of them. So, good case of extreme exaggeration. Here are some other common hyperbole examples that you might have heard of. "I've told you 1,000,000 times to shut the door." "I had to wait forever." So go ahead and fill these blanks in on your worksheet. Other examples might be extremes. Her brain is the size of a pea. Or something like, "If I don't get that game, I'm going to die." It's something extreme. Here are other hyperbole examples. "The home run went so high it knocked down the moon." You know you have usually hit hyperbole if you have stated something that is basically impossible. If it's kind of like, well, it's extreme, but it really is possible, then you haven't truly hit hyperbole. Here's another one. "The elevator went so fast, my feet arrived 5 minutes before my head." Now, something that is also very easy to do, and it's done a lot, is you will take similes and you will blend them with hyperboles. But in this case, this is just talking about a simile, such as "the star sparkled like a brilliant diamond." You have a star that's being compared to a diamond. Here is where you have a blend of a simile and a hyperbole. "The elephant ran like a speeding bullet from the mouse." Elephants do not run at the speed of bullets, so this is basically impossible. Now, the trick is you have a choice of blending these or not blending these. So, a simile may be a hyperbole. There's a chance that it could be. But a simile does not have to be a hyperbole. A hyperbole may be a simile. A hyperbole does not have to be a simile. So you'll see cases where you just have hyperbole, you'll see cases where you just have a simile, and you'll see cases where the two are blended. Go ahead and turn to the next page. We're going to go ahead and complete these. So you're going to fill in the blanks with what I type on here. "The cat's tail was as..." long as the ocean. Basically impossible. "The fast dog was running like..." we're going to say a speeding train. "The rabbit was nibbling loudly like..." a machine gun. Remember, just pause the video if I go too fast. The turkey was as slow as a dry creek bed. Or I should say as water in a dry creek bed. There is no water in a dry creek bed, which is the point. The snake was as long as a Houston freeway. The house was big like a mountain. The noisy pigs squealed like brakes from 10 semi-trucks. We're going to say the air was as thick as peanut butter. The giraffe was tall like space. Okay, now go ahead and scroll, or not scroll, go ahead and turn to, well, actually, go ahead and take the hyperbole pages, pop those out of your notebook, and put those under word list. Once you've done that, then go ahead and turn to your poetry page. So here's the example. This will be on worksheet 8. Go ahead and pull out purple, green, and blue and highlight your poem like this. Go ahead and hit pause, do that, and then continue on. So our topic is snow skiing, and if you notice, this is not an acrostic, but we have several things that come into this. So fresh snow glistening, dazzling as diamonds, brilliant sun bouncing then burning rosy faces, paths turning, twisting, careening like a rushing river, skiers racing, speeding down like lightning bolts, skis cutting, slicing, spraying the snow, wind howling like wild coyotes. So if you notice, all of the purple are similes. The green right here is alliteration. Remember, alliteration is beginning with a consonant, which B is a consonant. Things that are not consonants are vowels. And the B all has the same sound, the B, B, B. You have to watch it on that because especially the letter C, you can have the ch, the k, or the s sound. And you have to stay consistent if you're going to go with a letter like C. Now down here on this line, the whole line, you actually do have an alliteration there. You don't have to identify it. We already have it identified once. We have skis, slicing, spraying, snow. So all of that together, the 4 S's could be considered alliteration as well. The ones that are underlined on here are the similes that are also hyperboles. This one up here is not necessarily a hyperbole, but like a rushing river, like lightning bolts, howling like wild coyotes. This last one, I don't know if it would necessarily be considered a hyperbole, but my mom, who was the one who wrote this, does consider it to be, because I guess most of the time wind never howls as loud as a coyote. Maybe sometimes it does, though. But once you have that, go ahead and write these in. So each poem must be 6 lines with hyperbole on any 2 of the 6 lines. You are to have 4 similes somewhere in that poem, 1 set of a 3-word alliteration, and 1 set of 3 participles. Remember, participles are ing words, like you see up here. Twisting, turning, careening, cutting, slicing, spraying. And don't choose a word like thing. You want action words, because you wouldn't say thinging. You would just say thing. It doesn't really count. Okay, once you have that done, go ahead and turn to this page, which you should have, but don't fill it in with these words. These are what she used for the poem that I showed you.